Kanye West, one of the most powerful and controversial figures in the entertainment world, is now facing serious and deeply disturbing allegations that could alter the course of his career and public legacy forever. The rapper, fashion mogul, and cultural icon is being accused of sexual assault and sex trafficking by his former assistant, Lauren Pichota, in a new lawsuit that has sent shockwaves throughout the music and legal communities. The claims are not only shocking but paint a picture of prolonged manipulation, abuse of power, and systemic exploitation under the guise of a dream job opportunity. Pichota, who began working for West in July 2021, has filed a second amended complaint in her lawsuit, drastically expanding the scope of her accusations. Initially suing Ye for wrongful termination, gender discrimination, and harassment, she has now come forward with new claims that include sexual assault, battery, false imprisonment, stalking, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and even sex trafficking. According to court documents filed on July 8 and obtained by media outlets, she is seeking general and punitive damages, compensation for lost earnings, and any other relief the court deems necessary. The expanded complaint has turned a previously troubling legal matter into a potentially career-defining scandal. The lawsuit details a disturbing series of events that allegedly took place over the course of the year and a half that Pichota was employed by Ye. According to her, what was promised to be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to work alongside one of the most influential figures in music and fashion quickly devolved into a nightmare. Pichota claims that from early on in her employment, West made inappropriate and obscene comments about her body, repeatedly pressured her to wear tight, revealing clothing, and routinely touched her without consent. The behavior, she alleges, only escalated over time. Perhaps the most disturbing part of her testimony involves a flight on Ye's private jet, during which she claims she was locked in his bedroom while he masturbated until falling asleep. She describes this incident as a terrifying moment in which she felt utterly powerless. Pichota also alleges that she was repeatedly coerced into situations where she was forced to watch Ye engage in sexual acts with other women. On several occasions, she says, he pressured her to engage in sexting, join in on sexual encounters, or participate in other explicit activities despite her consistent refusals. According to the complaint, when she resisted his demands, West would threaten her with termination or other forms of professional sabotage. Her legal team argues that this behavior amounts not just to harassment, but to a calculated abuse of power and authority. Pichota was allegedly made to believe that compliance with Ye's demands was a necessary part of maintaining her position and advancing her career. This dynamic, her lawyers claim, created an environment of psychological manipulation and coercion that meets the legal criteria for sex trafficking under both state and federal statutes. Pichota describes West as a man who weaponized his fame, wealth, and power to control every aspect of her life. She characterizes him in her lawsuit as a sexual abuser, sexual harasser, online bully, anti-Semite, bigot, and a misogynist who proudly boasts about being all these things. These are incredibly serious and inflammatory allegations, and while West has not yet publicly responded to this latest filing, the gravity of the claims cannot be ignored. If proven true, the implications for Ye's career could be catastrophic. The lawsuit also alleges that the abuse did not stop after Pichota's employment ended. She claims that West continued to stalk and intimidate her even after she was abruptly terminated in the fall of 2023. In a particularly chilling part of the complaint, Pichota alleges that West moved into her Los Angeles apartment complex, prompting her to flee the city out of fear for her safety. She has since relocated to Florida. According to her attorneys, West's behavior amounted to ongoing emotional and psychological terror, further exacerbating the trauma she experienced during her employment. This new filing lands amid ongoing scrutiny of West's behavior in both his personal and professional life. Over the last few years, Ye has made headlines for his erratic behavior, offensive public statements, and fallouts with former business partners. However, while many of these incidents have played out in the court of public opinion, Pichota's lawsuit could bring Ye into an actual court of law, where the stakes are much higher. The civil case could cost him millions in damages and tarnish his already fragile public image. Legal experts are closely watching this case, noting that while it is currently a civil matter, the allegations could potentially lead to criminal investigations if law enforcement agencies find sufficient evidence. The mention of sex trafficking, in particular, is a red flag. Under federal law, sex trafficking includes the use of force, fraud, or coercion to induce someone into sexual activity in exchange for something of value, like a job, money, or career advancement. Pichota's claims suggest a textbook example of this, and it remains to be seen whether prosecutors will become involved. Public reaction to the lawsuit has been swift and divided. On social media, many users have expressed support for Pichota, praising her courage for coming forward with such harrowing accusations against a powerful figure like West. Others remain skeptical, questioning the timing of the complaint and whether it could be part of a larger agenda against the rapper. Still, the overwhelming sentiment is one of concern for the culture of silence and abuse that seems to persist in the entertainment industry, and concern for the young professionals who find themselves caught in the crossfire. For Pashada, the decision to file this lawsuit likely came after months, if not years, of emotional distress. She has painted a vivid picture of a workplace where boundaries did not exist and where personal autonomy was routinely violated. Her story echoes many of the themes that emerged during the height of the #MeToo movement: a powerful man using his position to exploit vulnerable employees, a toxic culture of fear and silence, and a legal system struggling to hold celebrities accountable. This case also raises larger questions about how Hollywood and the music industry treat assistants, interns, and junior employees, especially women. These workers are often told they're lucky to be in the room, that the abuse is part of paying their dues, and that speaking out could destroy their careers. Pashada's lawsuit challenges that notion head-on. By going public, she is not only demanding justice for herself, but also sending a message to others who may be suffering in silence. As for Kanye West, the coming weeks will be critical. His legal team is expected to respond to the complaint, and it remains to be seen whether they will attempt to settle the case quietly or fight it in court. Either path carries significant risks. A settlement could be seen as an admission of guilt, while a public trial would expose more details of West's private behavior and potentially result in a damaging verdict. Given Ye's history of doubling down in the face of criticism, many observers expect him to take the latter route. Whatever the outcome, this lawsuit is poised to become a defining moment in West's career. It's no longer just about his music or his fashion empire. It's about accountability, power, and the cost of silence. If Pashada's claims are substantiated, it could mark the beginning of a much larger reckoning, not just for West, but for an entire industry that has long protected its stars at the expense of its workers. For now, Pashada is asking the court to award her damages for the suffering she endured, lost wages, and legal fees. But more than that, she is demanding recognition. Recognition of her humanity, her trauma, and her right to a safe workplace. And in doing so, she has forced the world to reckon with the darker side of fame and the people who get caught in its shadow. This is a developing story, and we will continue to monitor it closely. As new details emerge and as Kanye West's legal team responds, we'll keep you updated with the latest information. In the meantime, the court of public opinion remains deeply divided, but the truth, as always, lies in the facts, and the facts will be determined in a court of law. Until then, the world watches and waits to see how this high-profile legal battle unfolds, and what it will ultimately reveal about the man who once called himself a genius.